Hey, what's up guys? I'm Scott from muscularstrength.com, and Nuclei Overload experiment number 2 is finally complete. Now, if you missed the first experiment, it's going to be very important that you guys watch that video if you missed it, because in that video I talk about why Nuclei Overload Training works and the science behind it, and I did a lot of research and put a lot of effort into that video so that as we do more experiments, I wouldn't have to rehash all that information. So I'm going to post a link to that video in my pinned comment below. Make sure you take a look. Now, what I did for the last 30 days, starting on February 3rd, was 100 power shrugs a day, followed by 100 barbell calf raises. Now, it's not always recommended that you do 2 muscles for Nuclei Overload Training when doing this experiment, but because I was doing traps and calves, different parts of my body, and those muscles can generally take quite a bit of a beating, it was okay. I didn't feel myself being overtrained whatsoever. For the last 30 days, guys, I wanted to focus on trying to see growth in my traps. Traps have always been a weak area for me. Calves are a weak area for me, and most guys in general, especially that I see at my gym. Like, I wish I was blessed with big calves like Ricky. Ricky, let's see those calves, baby. We'll do a little pirouette of those Ricky calves. I make Ricky wear pants to the gym whenever he works out with me, just because his calves are so nice. But anyways, I wanted to spark some growth in these areas, and we're going to take a look at the photos first, and then I'm going to go into exactly what I did and how I did the reps and how I altered my workouts so that I could still go to the gym and train even though I was doing the Nuclei Overload training in the morning. So, take a look at the calves photo first. February 3rd, my calves measured about 15.5 inches. As of today, they're measuring 15 3/4. Not a ton of growth, but still some growth. And some of you guys might be saying, how can you get that kind of growth in a month? Well, what I think it comes down to, for areas like calves and traps, these are areas that I have never done a ton of volume in throughout my history of training. That's why they're problem areas to begin with, right? So I feel like as I continue to do these experiments, I'm going to notice or see the most growth in areas that I didn't hit as hard as I should have throughout my lifetime as a lifter. And that 1/4 inch could also be due to a variety of reasons. I mean, I could have flexed my calf in a weird way when I took the original photo versus the photo now. So actual mass and growth, we can't say definitively, but I can tell you guys that the measurement is a little bigger as I'm showing you. And just visually in the mirror, when I take a look and I flex my calf, or if I do it from the back like this and I'll take a photo or something, I do see bits of a difference. But remember, it's only a 1/4 inch, and that's spread out around the entire circumference of the calf area. So it's not like you're gonna all of a sudden go like this and see a baseball, okay? It's just not gonna happen. Now, for traps, however, I did notice a pretty big difference. And if you take a look at these 2 photos, you can see a clear difference in my back. And if you were to pan around my body, you're gonna start to see a lot more upper trap development, you know, and that's what I was going for. I've never really had like good separation from neck to trap to shoulders, and that was one of the main reasons why I was doing this. And Ricky and I were talking even before we started the video, and I was explaining to him one of the biggest difference I actually have seen or noticed doesn't even have to do with the size of the muscle, it's the mind-muscle connection. If you guys were to stand up right now and flex your bicep like as hard as you could, right? It's almost like you can feel the whole muscle contracting, and it feels like there's a ball in your arm, right? Even if it's a smaller ball, that's okay, but you still can feel it. You know exactly what I'm talking about. That's kind of what I started to feel in my traps. Whenever I would flex my traps and do my most muscular pose like this, I would have to like fight so hard to kind of roll my shoulders and push my traps forward like this. But now when I do it, it's almost like I get that same feeling. I can feel the whole muscle flexing, contracting, and actually rolling forward. Ricky is now going to demonstrate how to flex your traps.
I don't know how.
Ricky?
I don't get the mechanics of it. My body's just like, no.
You gotta roll.
I can't.
Look at Ricky. You gotta roll it like this.
I can't roll it.
As I flex them, which I never really had before. So that was one of the big differences. But another difference is, even though we can't measure, we can visually see that the traps did grow quite a bit. It's very noticeable. And so the way the exercises work, if you guys want to try the experiment, is like this. I did every single morning. I would wake up, eat my breakfast, do some work, and about mid-afternoon I would come in my gym and I would do 10 sets of 10 repetitions of a power shrug, followed by 10 sets of 10 repetitions with the barbell calf raise. And I would superset them. So I would do 10 reps here, I would step over, and then I would do 10 reps here, and then I would rest for about 45 seconds to a minute, and then I would repeat until I completed all my reps, and it would take me usually like 25, 30 minutes max, okay? And the only things that changed throughout the course of the 30 days were this. On calves, it's kind of like when you do your biceps training. When you go wider, you work the inside. When you go closer, you work the outside. Same things for calves. So I would actually just alter my stance to be wide or close, sometimes day to day, or sometimes I would do the first 5 sets with my feet together, the next 5 sets with my feet apart, just to try to switch things up and make sure I was activating the entire area. For power shrugs though, number 1, I would definitely recommend picking up some of these easy grips. This made it a lot easier for me to go through my sets a lot faster. I'm gonna post a link down my pinned comment below. I get 10% off the entire website over at Iron Bull Strength. I've worked with these guys for a while. They get a lot of really great stuff. I actually keep like their clips in my bag all the time when I go to the gym. They have everything you need for a home gym, guys. And another thing that I would do with the power shrugs is I wanted to make sure that I was getting a deep stretch in my traps on every single repetition. So I wasn't just going like this for 10 reps. I was actually letting the bar sit down my thighs to get a real deep stretch. Then as I would come up, I would do my best to not push off my toes to use so much momentum. Even though we're doing a power shrug and the point of it is to overload, I would try to make sure my feet were staying flat and I was coming up like this and then controlling on the way down. And you guys can see from the reps from what we're showing right now exactly how I did it. But just make sure if you try this method, guys, you're not bending over and then coming up. You're not doing this, not going to spinal flexion, that's bad. You're kind of sitting and then pulling up like this just to get that deep stretch. And I did that for 30 days. And I didn't really feel overtrained at all. Basically, how I would incorporate this into my daily training at the gym now that I'm doing full body is I just didn't hit calves. I didn't need to. I was getting plenty of calf work here. But when it came to upper body, especially my shoulder workouts, I wasn't doing any types of shrugs. I wasn't doing dumbbell shrugs or barbell shrugs at the gym. I kind of just took that exercise and tossed it to the side. I was still doing my overhead presses, but another exercise that I did, because my rear delts are also a lagging area, so I want to try to find a cool way to hit those and get a bit more trap activation that wasn't just, from the power shrug, is I did this superset, and it's actually now one of my new absolute favorite supersets when doing shoulders, is I would do a lateral raise, right? So I'm going to hit that middle head of the deltoid, and I would do this for 10, maybe 12 repetitions, and then to get a bit more upper trap activation as well as my rear delt, I would do a rear delt raise, but instead of doing a traditional raise where you're bent over like this and then coming up this way, I was actually bending over slightly and then doing a posterior grip like that, right? I mean, not posterior, pronated, doing a pronated grip like this, and then I would swing back. And I would do one hand at a time. And guys, from all of the training I was doing with the power shrugs, whenever I would do the superset, my traps, my upper traps and my rear deltoid would just light up. And it was great. So I would recommend, if you guys try the power shrugs, that when you do your shoulder training, do your shoulder presses, do your lateral raise, your front raise. When it gets time for the rear raise, do that superset. It worked out really good for me. I absolutely loved it. So overall, with this training, Nuclei Overload, I mean, you're going to see results. No matter what you do, in my opinion, you're going from training a muscle group. Let's say you are doing full body, okay? Let's say you're doing full body 3 days a week. You're still going from 3 days a week to hitting that muscle 7 days a week with a lot more volume on every single day. You're doing 10 sets of 10 repetitions. Traditionally, in your workout, you're going to do 3, maybe 4 sets of 8 to 10 repetitions on that body part, even if you're doing it 3 days a week, right? So it is a lot more volume. You should see some kind of change. And if anything, you should see a difference in the amount of mind-muscle connection that you have to that muscle. So I'm really excited. I want to kind of keep this going. The next nuclei overload experiment that I want to do is going to be for back, and I'm going to do pull-ups. So 100 pull-ups a day, more than likely starting off with body weight, but hopefully getting to the point to where I can start to put little bits of weight in here, even if it's 5 pounds, 10 pounds, maybe 15 pounds if I'm feeling really good, to start to build a bit more strength as I'm increasing my volume, because Austin Dunham is just laughing at me not being able to pull 345s like him for sets of like 5. But we're gonna get there. And what I'm also thinking is, when I do this experiment, it's just gonna be pull-ups, no other muscle groups, but to kind of torture myself during my rest periods, I'll work on my handstands. So that should be pretty interesting. Let me guys know what you guys think down in the comment section below. If you guys want to try it with me, as always, I'm going to do a post in my forums on my website. I'll have that link in my pinned comment below as well. But, you know, when it comes to fitness, guys, you cannot be closed-minded. There are so many different ways to achieve a goal. And if what you're doing right now isn't working, then it's time to switch it up. Again, please be sure to tap that like button if you enjoyed the video. And as always, more good stuff coming soon. See you guys.